Welcome to another episode of Wealth Beyond Numbers. I'm your host, Dennis Coral, and we're here with Deirdre Nero. Deirdre, I like to end our podcast kind of in a happy note and also in a way with some insights that we can share to our audience. I like to read books. I get a lot of insight from books. So I don't know if there's any books that you have read recently that you felt that changed your life or help you in your career. And that's one of the questions I have for you. And the second is, if you can share, what are the things that drive you crazy in your industry? So, for example, there's so many books about finance, but one that actually I like that is not a financial topic has been The Alchemist. It talks about finding your journey, finding your passion. And we're very passionate about what we do in my practice. We don't think it's work. We love working with our clients. We love providing financial confidence. We love helping them plan for retirement, manage their investments, organize things. And it kind of started from that book, finding your passion, finding what your heart is. And you're very passionate about what you do, obviously, clearly. But are there any books and insights that you want to share with the audience that you felt that changed you or that made you think differently or see the world in a different way? And what are the things that in your practice drive you crazy?
So for books, so I'm weird with books. I'm either reading like total trashy novel, and I really like Sophie Kinsella. She's like a chicklit, they call it chicklit, author. It's like beach reads. I really like that because I feel like the need to be like disconnecting, a lot of times from just the intense information overload that I'm dealing with all the time, especially recently. So that's usually when we go on vacation. I'm like, and I want the actual book. I love audiobooks, but I like audiobooks for like business books and self-improvement books and things that are like more serious. And the audiobooks allow you to like be multitasking, which I'm the queen of that, doing 100 things at once. But if we're like on vacation, I'm like, I want a paper book that I can hold in my hands and I can't be multitasking in order to read it. And I want it to be something completely like fluff, like something fun, lighthearted, that's gonna like detach me from a little bit of like the reality. Because what I do for a living it's intense, and it can be like very stressful and overwhelming at times. So I really love those types of books to help me kind of just like disconnect. When we're talking about like business books and self-improvement books, I think the ones that I've really like resonated over the last couple of years, one of them was The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. I don't want to curse on your podcast, but there's giving an F. That's a really good one and has helped me a lot, especially like in the years after my divorce, when you're going through things like losing your hair, losing your identity, reinventing yourself, like dealing with people. That one has been really, that was a really good one for me. I really too enjoyed the E-Myth. That was a really good one. And they made like an offshoot one that was for lawyers. So I also read that one, and those are really good. And I like to listen to the audiobook, but then also have like the paper book.
Yes.
So you can kind of go in the paper book and like, highlight. Yeah, and like kind of go back and visually reinforce what you're listening to. I think it depends on like what kind of learner you are. But I like to do that with the books that are about something related to work or how to become, just better. But yeah, there's a lot of really good audiobooks that I've listened to over the last couple of years. But those are the two that are jumping out to me right now.
Now, tell me about what drives you crazy in your industry. I know that we talked about the do-it-yourself. We talked about the timing, people waiting.
Those are two that are high up there on the list. Another one I would say that drives me absolutely crazy is like the client hires us, they give us money, they seem all gung-ho, and then and this kind of goes back to what I was saying, like we want people who are like committed to this. And then they like, it's almost like a dating. They're like ghosting you. And you're like, wait a second. You hired us. You said you wanted our, advice and counsel, and you gave us all this money, and then you just like disappear into the abyss. And we are literally like following up. And then sometimes you feel like you're just like a needy, like ex-girlfriend or something because you're like chasing after people and they're like totally ignoring you, you know, and you're just like having flashbacks to bad relationships in high school when you were like chasing after the boy who didn't want you or something, you know, like I'm just like, what is happening right now? That's definitely a pet peeve of mine, but also of my team. Cause I'm just like, you know, whoever's assigned to that case, I'm like, follow up with them, and they're just like, they're not answering me, they're ghosting me, you know, so then they get the complex too. And then inevitably the client will show back up and then be like, okay, now I want it done tomorrow. And I'm just like, okay, dude, you disappeared for, you know, months and months and months on end. And now you show up and you want everything done the next day. It's like, that's not going to happen. But, you know, we try to play nice and we try to get people to, be a little bit more proactive with their cases, but sometimes you get those people, and it's kind of notorious in immigration law because I hear it from colleagues as well. Like a lot of people just taking forever to get us the documents or information that we need. Or like fighting, and then this is probably a different one, but like fighting back to us, like why do we need that information? And I'm just like, okay, remember that you hired me because I've been doing this for almost 25 years. I've done hundreds, if not thousands of these kinds of cases. And that means I've developed know-how and knowledge about what type of documentation and information I need to give to get your case approved. That's why I'm asking you for it. I'm not trying to be extra nosy or ask you to do work with us on that.
That comes with experience. I mean, that's why I always say to potential clients that having worked with me before, you're not just hiring me, you're hiring my team, but you're also hiring the 20 years of experience that I know what works and I know what doesn't.
Yeah,
and I
exactly.
can lead you
It's
in the road of financial success if you follow what I'm telling you, but I know also what are the things that has not worked for clients that led them to financial distress and stress. So
it's the same, and so it can get frustrating when people don't want to listen to you, but you have to convince them. So luckily I'm pretty convincing, but they don't always listen, and sometimes it doesn't go their way. And I don't want to be the one that's like, I told you so, because I don't want to be like that. And a lot of times I have to tell clients this, like, we're on the same side. I'm your advocate.
Right.
Like, everything just complex in general, but just be better and easier, but also just better overall. Because a lot of the stuff is very archaic and very outdated, and, doesn't need to be that way. If we would just get lawmakers that could agree to do something to fix it. But because this issue has become such a hot button political crazy issue, it's like the hot potato that no one wants to touch almost. And so you don't get the kind of reform that we need. You end up just getting like piecemeal things happening or policy changes, because administration can't change the law, right? We need Congress to do that. But there are certain things that an administration can do that are administrative actions, policy changes, so that stuff's changing like every day practically. But then the stuff that really takes the hard work of the Congress to actually agree on real, meaningful, lasting changes to the actual laws, like that stuff is rough. And we've been just clamoring for it, the advocates, for years. I mean, ever since I can remember, and so that can get pretty frustrating.
Yeah, we had a podcast where we interviewed a CPA, and it was the same frustration.
Yeah.
Government could do something within the IRS just to update their software, update their processes,
I mean, there's
just
a lot
to
of
improve things. And that becomes a roadblock too when you're helping clients.
It does, and it's frustrating. And a lot of times it's like we have and so like at the end of the day, like, do you want to spin your wheels because it doesn't make sense to you why you have to do this or that, or do you want to just do the thing that's going to get your case to be successful, right? And sometimes it's not worth it to the person, and sometimes it is, and so there's also kind of navigating that with clients and helping them figure out, do they want to have to jump through those hoops, so to speak? And are they willing to jump through those hoops? Because if they're not, maybe it's not the right thing for them, and also trying to get people to understand that in advance is a big part of what we do. We feel like they call lawyers counselors for a reason, because we're really almost like psychologists in a lot of ways, It's interesting.
You must have a lot of patience.
Don't ask my husband that, because he will disagree. But I think I do. I try.
Yeah. Well, Deirdre, this was fantastic. Thank you so much again for sharing so much knowledge.
It was a lot of fun.
So many tips and so many things about you, about your professional life. I find you as one of the best attorneys in immigration, and that's why we wanted to bring you here.
I appreciate that a lot.
So I hope that we continue to do more things like this in the future and try to support you with the alopecia as well.
Congratulations on the podcast.
Oh, thanks.
It's awesome.
Thank you so much.
I'm glad to have been a guest. It's been a lot of fun.
My pleasure.